Are you curious about the story behind one of the most influential companies in the music industry? Join us as we explore the fantastic story of Spotify's rise to fame and the part a bright, ambitious Swedish youngster played in changing how we listen to music. In 1999, a Swedish teenager named Daniel Ek was residing with his parents when they noticed something peculiar. The regular, expensive TV purchases made by Daniel caused red flags. His parents began to wonder where he obtained the money because they didn't believe their son could afford such luxury. Daniel's parents suspected their son was involved in criminal activities due to his expensive purchases. However, at 13, he had already recognized the potential of website creation and started a small business creating websites for clients, charging $100 for his first client and doubling it for the next. His rates remained lower than the industry standard, regardless of the rise. Daniel could be charging a stunning $5,000 per website to grow his firm. As the demand for websites on the internet began to rise, he even enlisted computer class participants, luring them into the prospect of video games. By the time he was 18, he was leading a group of 25 employees, and his income eventually reached $50,000 per month. Only when Daniel began bringing those large TV screens home, his parents started to take note of his money. After Napster was shut down in 2001, there was an increase in illegal music downloads on the internet during that time. Other illegal websites like Kazaa, eDonkey 2000, and LimeWire quickly replaced them. People used SoulSeek to get their fix for hiding tracks. Daniel saw this pattern and made a realization that he later discussed in an interview. He said, "You can never legislate away piracy. While piracy laws can help, they don't solve the problem entirely." Daniel claimed a better solution, which required to address the piracy issues and pay the music business. After he founded a few other companies and led uTorrent as CEO until 2006. This concept laid the groundwork for Spotify. Daniel considered retiring after making enough money, but his business spirit persuaded him to continue. Daniel and Martin were linked over their mutual lack of purpose. After accumulating unexpected money when they first met each other while working on their respective businesses, they developed concepts for their future business ventures in 2006 while residing in a rented flat in Stockholm, Sweden. Daniel and Martin frequently listened to music on their multimedia PC while working together. But in 2006, the circumstances were far from ideal. Installing any desired track on internet radio was challenging because it wasn't widely available. Daniel then thought he could make a legal streaming service a reality rather than keep it in his head. So Daniel said, "We spent much time that autumn brainstorming ideas. We often sat around my media machine and found it cumbersome to access content, even though the technology had been around since 2000. I think that led us to focus on the idea of Spotify." The two Spotify founders brainstormed names for the new company in separate rooms. Daniel misheard the name Martin shouted as Spotify. Daniel searched the word online out of curiosity, but had not received results. As the name of their business, they immediately registered it. 2006 was a challenging year for the music business. Record labels were trying to find a solution as physical media sales, like CD sales, had sharply decreased. In fact, by 2006, the music industry's revenue had fallen from $25.2 billion to barely $19.4 billion. Early Spotify's success could be credited to its smart market segmentation strategy. They discovered the sweet spot between two extremes in the music business: illegal file-sharing services like Napster and legitimate distribution channels like Apple iTunes, which offer tracks for up to $2 each. Unlike both options, Spotify intended to offer a better music listening experience. They understood that while legal platforms like iTunes were more affordable for the ordinary user, illegal ones like Napster had slow speeds for downloading and poor music quality. Spotify found its niche in the industry by providing a reputable, high-quality streaming services at a reasonable price. Daniel noticed a malware problem on torrenting websites and sought to offer an alternative to piracy. Spotify offers dependable audio quality, immediate playback, and quick UI with an eye on the user experience. The engineering group put forth much effort to creating a working prototype. Daniel had a clear vision for Spotify and wanted to make it incredibly quick and effective. His goal was to prevent latency times of more than 250 milliseconds. Daniel enjoyed Spotify users feeling like they could access every song recorded on their device. This was supposed to be Spotify's appeal, making customers willing to shell out $10 per month. Even though they could just as quickly acquire their preferred tunes for free via torrents. Spotify faced challenges securing music license, but focused on European market. Despite pushback, the company continued towards its goal to revolutionizing the music industry. Interestingly, a pirated version of Spotify was what convinced record labels to sign up in the end. The program's design was easy to use and effective, but because record companies saw a drop in revenue, they were at first unwilling to engage. Upon viewing the demo, Per Sundin, president at Universal Music Sweden, expressed doubt and said, "This can't be true. It can't be this excellent." Looking back, it's almost comical to think about how much of a game changer that was in the early 2000s. The service was first made available in Scandinavia, France, Spain, and the UK in 2008, and operated on a subscription basis, with invitations needed for access. The program gained popularity fast, but delays in American launch were due to negotiations for foreign music licenses. The opportunity for digital music distribution were right before them, while they were consumed was decreasing CD sales, but they could only recognize it once Spotify made them do so. With the major labels on board, Spotify secures the sizable investment from financial institutions like Goldman Sachs, and the rest is history. Spotify had 381 million active users, 170 million of whom are premium subscribers. Currently, the platform has more than 82 million songs. Songs are found on trending TikTok, but are streamed in full on Spotify. Additionally, Spotify has altered how people listen to music. No longer are albums listened to in chronological orders. Negotiations with American companies like EMI, Sony, Universal, and Warner Music nearly prevented Spotify from making its US debut in 2011. While Spotify preferred a freemium business model, the record companies insisted on a paid subscription business model. The companies planned to expand internationally were safe with these early label agreements. Daniel gave the businesses a majority stake in Spotify stock as a motivation, which was sufficient to close the deal. The record companies needed a strategy to get their music in front of youthful listeners because their sales declined. They would have lost money if they had refused to accept the deal because of pirated music. People now frequently use playlists to find new songs that suit their moods or fit specific topics. The playlists are expertly crafted and can offer a tremendous boost to artists with billions of streams. Spotify's algorithm allows them to put whatever song they choose at the top of these playlists, giving them significant influence over the music business. Several artists have criticized Spotify because they believe the service is an unnecessary middleman, while some musicians contended that Spotify needs to do more to support up-and-coming talent. Others argue that the compensation they received from the platform needs to be increased. Taylor Swift was one of the first musicians to criticize Spotify openly. She slammed the platform's low artist compensation and referred to it as an experiment. According to Swift, "I am not willing to contribute my life's work to an experiment that I don't feel fairly compensates the writers, producers, artists, and creators of this music." Because of this, she took her music off the site for 3 years before putting it back on. Other musicians have protested by removing their music from Spotify, but most since returned. This demonstrates the considerable impact Spotify has on the music business. Being on Spotify is a need for artists who want to become more visible and make a good living. In recent years, comparisons have showed that it takes 229 streams on Spotify to earn $1, while on Apple Music, it takes only 136 streams, and on Tidal, it takes only 80 streams. YouTube Music pays the least, however, it takes 570 streams to make $1. The censorship method used by Spotify have also generated debate, particularly in connection with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan agreed to a $100 million contract with Spotify in 2021 to have only access to the streaming service. Spotify, however, removed several of Rogan's episodes and added disclaimers to many others. Following many controversial COVID-19 attacks, the company's dedication to free expression has come under fire, even though this might have been an attempt to placate outside investors. But let's talk about Spotify's recent buying spree to boost podcasting on the platform. Content and technology companies such as Gimlet Media, The Ringer, Anchor Podcast, and Megaphone had been added to their portfolio. They are engaging in supply and demand game by doing this. In addition to providing the technology to support them, Spotify supplies the acquirers, podcasters, and networks. The ultimate objective, which had been accomplished, is dramatically increasing their market share. Spotify's podcast collection rose from 185,000 to 3.2 million episodes between 2018 and 21. A noteworthy achievement was the company's announcement in October 2021 that it had more US listeners than Apple Podcasts. Daniel Ek, a co-founder of Spotify, gained fame in 2022 for his investments, particularly in the European defense AI startup Helsing. He has invested 1.2 billion of his funds in alleged moonshoot initiatives. He believes Europe needs a more vital tech scene, especially in AI. This is not relatable to the music business. Nowadays, obtaining your music on Spotify is simple, provided the audio quality is respectable and the material is not objectionable. Some third-party distributors can manage the upload procedure in preparation for Spotify inspection. The introductory statistics show that it's challenging for full-time musicians to make a career on Spotify. It is still being determined whether this will alter in the future. Spotify's history is highly astounding. A few prosperous people devised the concept and decided to act on it, finally turning the music business on its head. Whether you're a reviewer or a fan, Spotify is now a vital part of any successful music career. We appreciate you for watching this story about Spotify. We sincerely hope it was informative and valuable to you. Always feel free to ask if you have any additional questions. Goodbye for now, and see you in the next one.